The Rant Network with Stuart Brisgel and David Solomon. Every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern. You think about it, we rant about it. Listen to us live on Facebook.
You know, I'm doing the intro again, and I'm wearing the same green shirt that I wore on Wednesday. Did you
Uh-oh.
realize?
Did you wash your shirt, man?
No, I didn't wash my shirt. I had someone else wash it for me, but I realized I'm
Oh.
wearing the same shirt. So how is that for funny? You know? But we're not here to talk about my shirt. We're here to talk about some scumbag, douchebag, socialist, hypocrite with three letters. AOC. But you know what? I think the three letters are going to be destroyed by two letters. TX. Because they're strong in the land of Texas. David, AOC claims that she's going to tidal wave the Longhorn State. What did say you?
Well, look, I got to tell you something. First of all, I find it vile. AOC is one of the most disgusting politicians out there.
Tell me how you really feel about AOC.
Yeah, okay, let me remove my inhibitions and my
starting to sound like me more and more. It's really
my issue with AOC is the same as all. It's again, AOC needs to be called out for her pure hypocrisy. Okay, she loves to tell people what to do. She won't do it herself, as we've seen with her masks. She loves to tell people and wants to help the poor people and all the poor people. But in the meantime, she has no problem increasing her personal net worth because she's taking in all that money as being a congresswoman. And now she goes to the grand old state of Texas. Okay, why?
Wait a second. She's a congressperson of the state of New York. Yet she's going to on the national level.
Correct.
The mocks on this woman. She's got bigger cojones than you, David.
So, look, she was last Saturday in San Antonio working with these two candidates, Jessica Cisneros and Greg Casar, and she was there to support them. Now, the problem I have with what she did in San Antonio is she says turning the state blue is inevitable, and then she's going to go and say they're going to unionize Texas. I'm like, Stuart,
hang on. Is there an expression? Hang on. Don't mess with Texas.
Don't mess with Texas. The problem with AOC, folks, and this is
there's lots of problems. You make it sound like there's one problem. The problem. Sorry, David. I grammatically have to correct you. The problems with AOC start with. David, continue. Sorry.
Well, look, her attitude is the people don't like. Look, there was a problem with wages. I get it, and I get it in the state of Texas. I understand that, but her attitude is we're going to unionize the hell out of this state, and she says we're going to make sure that not one dime is made exploitively across any worker, especially undocumented.
I got to bring this up. Before there was a Department of Labor that represented we the people in the United States, I saw that unions were or had a use. Now they have a Department of Labor, an organization that you may remember that Biden tried to weaponize ERISA, not ERISA, damn it, what's it called? OSHA. He tried to weaponize it. You have all of these employee organizations. What's the fucking point to having a union? Well, I'm sorry, AOC. You know what? You're a socialist. Just admit it. Get off the Democratic Party. You're done.
She loves it because her base, that's what her base loves to hear. And she's trying to convince the folks in Texas that that's what you need. And this is my problem. I got a buddy, he's a colleague, he's in Houston, and he keeps saying, we're tired of people coming into our state and telling us what to do. That includes folks from California and folks from New York. And when I mentioned AOC,
how about folks from Mexico, El Salvador, Honduras, Venezuela, Argentina?
Look, these Democrats apparently are claiming to fight for Medicare for all, union jobs, a Green New Deal, ending student debt, all what the Democrats love to spew out. But you know what's amazing? is that at no point it says comprehensive immigration reform and reproductive justice. Did you notice what's not on the list that's important to Texas? Stuart, what's not important? What's not on this list that's important to Texans?
I don't know, David. What's not on that list that's so important? You want me to ask that
Let's
question?
call it the southern border.
What are you told? Wait a second. Southern border. I'm sorry. What is a southern border, David? I don't seem to think that our country has one anymore. But I think Canada has a southern border, and they won't let 99% of all Americans over.
No, the problem I have with what AOC has done is that during the Trump administration, she went to the border, did a phenomenal photo op, crying along the fence, the poor people, the poor immigrants. Biden gets elected. Now she's campaigning for Democrats in Texas. But at no point is she talking to Texans about what Texans need. So these two Democrats are spewing the Democrat lies that they're going to help the state of Texas to become a blue state. We're going to unionize because that's exactly what Texans want.
I want to ask you a question, David. David, I want to ask you a question. Who controls the House?
Well, it's the Dems.
In the United States.
It's the Dems.
Who controls the executive branch?
At the moment, it's all Dem.
Okay.
Until November.
Who controls the other side? Dems. So why haven't they passed Medicare for all? Why have they not passed reform of any kind? Why have they been an invertebrate government? Because they promise people and never deliver. Guys, everyone who's listening, we all know about the person that promises you everything and ultimately gives you disappointment. It's kind of like that email you get saying, I'm from Lagos, Nigeria, and I got $1 billion that you inherited. Send me $50,000. These people are criminals and crooks, and if they can be prosecuted for all their lies, they'd all be in jail, David. I'm sorry. They are full of shit. They have the House. They have the executive branch. They got control of Congress. There is no reason why they haven't passed it.
You know what? And there lies the problem. No one challenged AOC. Hey, tell me. So, what are you doing for us? Right now, the problem here, Stuart, is that AOC doesn't care about the state of Texas.
She shouldn't. She's a congressperson from New York.
Right, but Stuart, what is, in your opinion, AOC's?
I got a conspiracy theory about AOC. I think AOC is scared to live in New York and wants to run for Senate or Congress in the state of Texas, and she's trying to find a way to move there.
I'm going to tell you something. Maybe that's it. But what do you think is AOC's real agenda right now?
She wants to replace Nancy Pelosi.
You want to know what? The rumors that are going around, she wants to replace Chuck Schumer. And right now,
Interesting. You think she's trying to replace Chuck Schumer?
No,
why do you say that?
Chuck Schumer, and this is what you're hearing from the political circles, even on the left, even on the liberals media. It's interesting because if you watch the CNNs and the MSNBCs, that's the speculation that they're throwing out. That Nancy is not giving up her seat so quickly. That's hard to get. But Chuck Schumer's spot, it's not such a bad. That's not an unreachable thing.
Chucky is sort of like the woodwork in the house. Chuck E. Cheese is just very cheesy. But you know what? He doesn't have the vile viscerous that Nancy Pelosi. And I think Nancy Pelosi is toppled much more easier as an old bag who's out of date and out of touch, where Chuck is still an older guy, but he's not so as out of touch. And I don't like him, but I think he's more solid.
The problem with AOC, Stuart, is that she has absolutely, aside from her scruples being challengeable, she has aspirations. And her aspirations go beyond being the local congresswoman in New York. She wants more. And I'm telling you that these moves, and we've seen star politicians go to different states to campaign for others. We've seen this. I'm not saying it shouldn't happen, but AOC wants more. She doesn't like just being some simple congresswoman from New York. She's hungry for more power, and she loves it.
I agree with you. David, why am I agreeing with you so much? Because I agree with you.
Well, look, that was well said. But the problem which
then I agree with you. It's well said. But
the,
I don't.
the
But
thing.
AOC. I know I'm driving you nuts. Go on, David.
No,
Sorry.
but AOC. The problem with AOC Stewart, okay, is that her lies aren't being challenged. The local newspaper in San Antonio, they didn't quite challenge her. Hey, you're a Dem. You're coming into our state here where, frankly, hey, like, who the heck are you, right? But instead of challenging her and saying, so what have you done for New York? What have you passed as legislation? How are you on gun control? Which is, I think that's a big deal in Texas. How are you on immigration control? That should be a big deal in the state of Texas. Instead, she could care less. All she wants is political power. She has no problem pretending and lying to people. Kudos, AOC. I think the emperor's clothes are fitting you quite well.
David, she's a young politician who has gotten away with more than most thus far in her very young career. And I applaud what she's accomplished. But I want everyone to understand, like the stock market that could rise very quickly, its fall can come just as quick. And you know what? This is a type of woman that isn't asexual and will find herself on the cover of a magazine in a very inappropriate position. And I promise you, when that happens, they're going to say, oh, poor AOC. But you know what? The best way to get
Stuart,
AOC.
But Stuart, the media didn't call her out when she was in Florida, lying about the masks and partying with people.
Isn't that amazing? Isn't that amazing?
Listen, they love her. She's a darling to the left. We talked about this on Wednesday about that whole business that the left is so inconsistent. You should listen to me, but you don't, forget it. Look, she goes into Texas and she starts screaming about anti-abortion and women's rights and whatever. And it's a great soundbite. And again, these are great sound bites, and the media takes it at its surface. But where is it? I give credit to a Fox News that goes out and challenges an AOC, but an MSNBC and CNN is sitting there going, wow, she could be a vice president one day. She could be a Speaker of the House one day. She could be one of the most powerful people. So let's ingratiate her to the nth degree without realizing that she is one of the most dangerous politicians out there. If she thinks that Texas is interested strictly, in certain reforms, and she could care less that the border is wide open and people flooding in, it doesn't matter. Okay.
David, I can't argue with you. I don't like the girl. I think she is the problem. There's an old age adage. If you're not part of the solution, you are the problem. Mm-hmm. And AOC, in my world, is the problem. You cannot say all these great things and don't have solutions. It's like a Bernie Sanders moment. That guy is twilighting out, and this girl is trying to take Bernie Sanders' torch. And you want to know something? Again, you have to respect the woman for having, looking at Mount Everest as I can topple it. But I'm hoping that we bury her under Mount Atlas and never have to see her again.
Look, and she thinks she's actually, that her face should be on Mount Rushmore, let alone anything else.
Well, and, she wants to take everyone's face off and put her face on. And I want to go back a little bit further to 2008, when again the Democrats had control of everything, and they still did nothing for the people.
It's
the tax, the inflation, the supply chain. This is 1979 with Russia about to go at war. And again, let's segue because we got 30 seconds left. Next week, David, I just want to remind everyone that no one has still in the media talked about ammonia nitrate. No one in the world. I haven't seen it on any broadcast.
No one.
And you want to know something, David? It's that time. It's weekend. I've got a drink close at hand, and I think you should get one too.
Folks, have yourself a wonderful weekend. Stuart and I will catch you on the other side on Monday, and we hope to have We might even surprise you with how we're going to rant on Monday. Have yourself a great weekend, everybody. Cheers. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.